got a little bit of golden brown around it.
Golden brown? It has a golden brown spot the size of a quarter. Not even. That's like a dime.
Nice crisp exterior. It feels warm.
Did he say? Did he say crispy? Is he delusional?
Nice crisp exterior.
He said he actually said it was crispy. He's touching it, and he said it's crispy. This man is. Chef Brian Tsao here, not your typical chef, and today I'm going to be reacting to a very requested video, Cooking with Jack, Wet Brine versus Dry Brine Test, Part 1. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my newest sous chef level patrons, Donna Gioa, Jeremy Brakeman, Nathan Shutt, and Audrey Bossman. Guys, thank you so much for your support. You, along with all the patrons, really do make a difference on this channel. And remember, by becoming a patron, you get to take advantage of some awesome perks like early access to new episodes, but more importantly, patron exclusive content.
So we're doing a wet buttermilk brine, then we're going to do a dry buttermilk brine. This is an experiment. That's what I love about this show. If I got some inkling to try something, I'm going to try it. I'm going to let you know which one's better.
Let's talk about brines really quick. For me, as far as brines go and their application to food processing, really it's the application of salt. So whether it's a wet brine and you apply the salt to whatever product you're doing, meat or vegetables, it's going to be done in a water solution. And if it's a dry brine, essentially it's a rub. It's another way of saying a rub. You generally want the rub and or the wet brine to, the wet brine or the dry brine to sit overnight, generally around 12 hours. The bigger the product, like an 18-pound turkey, you may want to go a little longer. Don't really want to exceed like 48 to 72 hours, then it will start to manipulate and change the texture of the food in a way that I don't think is really that good. But yeah, for me, it's mainly about the salt. When people say they're brining in buttermilk, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's more of a marination. But again, the point of a brine is to impart salt into a food product. Let's see what Jack does. I've reacted to a few of his videos at this point. This was a highly requested video. I haven't been very impressed whatsoever. And I have a feeling I'm not really going to be impressed in this. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're going to start a drinking game in this video as well. I don't know, if we make the word brine, I think that may kill some of you, so let's not do that. Right
now our chicken is getting to room temperature.
If you're gonna brine something overnight, you don't need to take the food product to room temperature. There's no need, because it has to sit refrigerated overnight anyway. And also that can be a health hazard. But right before cooking, if you let it come down to room temperature, that I agree with to an extent, especially if you're doing it at home. The professional kitchen, you don't really have time or the space to do that, nor do I recommend it for the purposes of DOH and all that stuff. But if you're doing it at home and you leave it out for an hour or two to come to room temp, fine. Yeah, there's no need to bring the product to room temp for the brining process.
I don't know if I need both these buttermilks. I may only need one, but I'll show you how we're seasoning it. We're gonna season, the same dry seasonings are going in the dry buttermilk mix. We're going to rub it onto the chicken, set it overnight, let it do it like a dry brine, okay? But this one, the chicken's soaking in buttermilk. We're gonna be doing a wet brine, all right? I'm not following a recipe. I just pulled out a bunch of ingredients that I want to put in my buttermilk.
I mean, with a brine, you do want to go with a recipe of some form or a baseline. Generally, rule of thumb for a brine is about 1 to 2 tablespoons of salt per pound. So for a 1 pound piece of chicken, 1 to 2 tablespoons. Depends how salty you want the product. For dry brine, essentially, I don't go with that same ratio. It's just evenly coated all around. Everyone's a little different of how heavy or how light, but generally if you have it evenly coated all around the product, that's gonna be how much you want to make. Every time I do a rub or a dry brine, I always end up having excess, but I use it for another time, which is the good thing about a dry brine. You can make a bunch of it, put it into a container, and use it as needed.
I don't think I'm gonna need 2 of these. I think we just need 1 of these. So we're gonna season this buttermilk, right? And I'll get you the recipe down below.
I thought you just said you don't have a recipe. Okay.
All right, we're gonna do pepper.
All right, black pepper.
And you can go heavy because it's going to be a brine, so it's It's not going to be, whatever sticks to the bird, whatever doesn't.
Kind of. I mean, when you brine something, it's very hard to explain, but when you add spices and flavorings and aromatics into a brine, not necessarily buttermilk, but a water-based brine with salt and a little bit of sugar and maybe cinnamon stick and black peppercorns and stuff, the flavor is almost like a blanketing effect versus a dry brine where I feel like the spices come through a lot more direct and a bit more, has a lot more impact. Both are great. Both give you different results. A wet brine, not only does it impart salt, which intensifies the flavor, but it also imparts moisture because your product is literally soaking in water. With a dry brine, it's not as moist, but if it's something with the skin is really nice with the dry brine. The skin tends to be a bit more tender, like easier to bite into. You're not really fighting it as much. And the flavors are a lot more intense. I don't necessarily agree with that in a wet brine. The only flavor that's going to get imparted is the spice that sticks onto the protein. When it sits overnight, all the flavors and aromatics, especially in something like buttermilk, which really takes on flavor very well, and aromas, that's going to get imparted into the whole of the protein.
Here's the salt.
Okay, salt. Yep, standard.
There we go. Here's the oregano.
Okay.
Putting some herbs in here too. Oh, that smells good already. I'm hungry. And I just had my 10 a.m. shake. It's the morning time right now that I'm filming. This is basil.
Okay, basil. Sure.
Now this is a seasoning we picked up at Sam's Club, and it is a cilantro lime seasoning. You can go to Sam's and look for it.
Speaking of looking for things, if you don't mind, look for that thumbs up button, hit it. It's a little thing for you, but it does a lot for me, and I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed.
I'm thinking we need this. Not sure why. So we will put cilantro lime seasoning in here. There we go. Put a lot in.
Sure.
The heavier the better.
Really
Okay,
just
and
winging
this
it,
is exactly what it looks
flake.
like. Red pepper flakes.
Okay.
Gotta have some heat. Love the heat.
I know from the comments you guys told me that this guy had a stroke, which is why he's using only one arm. It's kind of sad. My grandfather actually passed away from a stroke, and my mother had a stroke, which she managed to fully recover from, which was a miracle, honestly. So yeah, I feel for this dude. I mean, I've heard some not so flattering things about this guy aside from his cooking, but I don't wish that upon my enemy,
Now it's time to...
Yeah, to me, that's a
much of this we
marinade.
can get in there.
That's a buttermilk marinade.
We're gonna fill
I've
the
seen
bowl up with this
recipes
buttermilk.
online where they say, buttermilk brine. Again, to me, this is a marinade. Doesn't mean it's bad. Let me make that very clear. Buttermilk, marinades, brines, whatever you want to call it. There's many ways to call the same thing. Buttermilk is awesome, okay, when it comes to poultry cookery.
Flip this chicken halfway through your brining. So it's marinated all night long.
Okay, overnight.
Just want to be honest with you.
I mean, he said it himself. It's been marinating all night long. Listen, if you're soaking in buttermilk, to me, that's a marinade. Yeah, that simple. Take a shot. just for the sake of taking a shot. So you can see that is a silicone mat. Those are awesome. Silpats are freaking great. What's concerning me is that I don't see a roasting rack or a metal grate that'll elevate whatever product you're cooking so that the hot air can also penetrate on the underside. Especially with the chicken, that's pretty essential. For me, the main reason why that's so essential is because when the chicken sits directly onto the pan, it's gonna trap moisture and you're gonna have that gross, anemic, soft skin that I don't enjoy whatsoever. Also, I'm a little concerned he's gonna be roasting this. Not to say that you can't roast a product, a food product that's been marinating in buttermilk or, something like yogurt, like a tandoori chicken or something like that. Can be absolutely delicious. But, something like a tandoori chicken, usually the chicken pieces are cut into chunks and then they're put into a tandoori oven at a very high heat and it's cooked very fast. A whole chicken like this being buttermilk soaked and then roasted like that, I've never done it. I'm sure people have done it before. but I don't think it's going to come out to a very nice product whatsoever. The buttermilk is, you know, kind of chunky, not necessarily chunky, but it's thick, and it's gonna kind of sit on the chicken inconsistently. So you're gonna have some spots that caramelize and some spots that don't. Whereas something like a wet brine, you pull it out of the liquid, you pat it dry, you can be pretty sure it'll cook consistently all around, which is why I think for the most part, when you marinate in buttermilk, deep frying it is a great way to go about it, because the buttermilk not only does it tenderize and impart flavor, but it's a great tool to attach your breading to the chicken.
Oh, that's the
neck.
The neck.
He never removed the neck.
I don't know. We'll just put that right there.
He doesn't know? Weren't you the one that put it into the marinade? Like, can you imagine taking that whole thing, dunking it into a bunch of seasoned flour and frying that whole thing? I mean, it would be a little tricky. You'd have to really control your temperature. Maybe flash fry it and then finish it in the oven after you get it to the color that you want. But if he cut that up into pieces, put it into seasoned flour and fried it, that would be great right there. Honestly, I think he would have had a great dish. But this is Cooking with Jack, so you should take another shot. You know what? Let me know in the comments below if for a future episode you want me to join you taking these shots. You know, I'm not going to do it with vodka or hard liquor, but maybe with a beer, you know, we'll do something like you know, similar to a power hour where I just take a sip every time I say take a shot.
Okay, we're going to roast this in the convection at 350.
Okay. You're just going to leave it on the pan like that? Not going to truss it? You're not going to, I don't know. The roasting, and he's also got it breast side down, which is really terrible cookery. If you're not gonna have a roasting rack, at the very least, have it on the backside, because there isn't much protein on the backside. That's the spine, right? This is the main gripe I have with Jack. You know, he's had a channel for a long time, but he hasn't seemed to have improved at all. You know, I mean, I've only reacted to, this will be the 4th video of his. I did a reaction of Uncle Roger reacting to him, but yeah, it just, you know, from what I'm seeing in the thumbnails, and I watched a few minutes of a couple other episodes here and there just to kind of scope it out a little, I don't see any improvement. And to me, that's such a shame, but also like shame on you, dude. You do something so publicly, but you've been doing it for so long and there isn't an improvement in your skill set. That's a waste, honestly. You know, just make the effort. I don't know when this video was filmed, but yeah. Ugh. He's gonna roast that in the convection oven at 350 degrees. It is coated in this buttermilk. Nothing wrong with that. To me, 350 degrees is not going to be enough to get good color on this, especially the fact that it's coated in buttermilk, which has a lot of moisture, which is going to take a longer time to get the caramelization because there's so much moisture. The water content has to cook out first before the Maillard reaction can start. Unless he's leaving it in there for a significantly long time, which is also not good, because then you're going to start to dry out the chicken. Yeah, this is not looking good, man. And he's got it breast side down, and the wings are just sticking up. I mean, this chicken is like, you know, belly side down and just arms out. Those wings are going to be dry as hell because, again, he didn't trust this chicken. Such a waste of chicken.
But this has been in a wet brine of buttermilk.
Marinade.
So buttermilk and spices.
Take a shot.
I showed you already what the spices were.
And I didn't even pick a word. I'm just going to randomly say it, and you guys got to take a shot, okay?
350 for approximately 50 minutes to an hour. Usually takes about an hour to cook chicken, so.
An hour. You guys have brought up this video many times. I already know that this chicken is going to be super undercooked, but this guy just does not know what he is doing. And he's putting out cooking videos. Okay, I can tell you right now, an hour is not going to be enough time. Not even close, number one. Number two, you should do your research a little bit more. You know, in my scenario, I don't do any research for any of these reaction videos because I've been doing this for 2 decades. I will say, however, I have said things incorrectly, but generally I'm within the ballpark and you know, I'm close, right? But I've been doing it for 2 decades, nearly 2 decades professionally, day in and day out. Dude, you are putting out these cooking videos and you couldn't just put in a little bit more effort You know, you're clearly not a professional. So Nigel, for example, I hung out with him a couple times when he was stateside, and you know, he told me he does a lot of research and work before he films his Uncle Roger videos. And you know what? He's not a professional, so he's doing his homework, and that's what leads me to respect him. You know, aside from his hilarious ass comments. But
1 hour later.
Oh my God. Oh my God. At the edges of that pool of buttermilk, you can see that it has caramelized there. Why? Because the moisture content had cooked out, and when the moisture content cooks out, the Maillard reaction can begin, and it gets a deep brown color. But the chicken itself has a lot of moisture, right? So that's gonna prevent the skin from browning. The buttermilk is all moisture, pretty much, right? And also, I can just tell from the plumpness of this chicken that it is not cooked enough. Aside from checking with a thermometer and temperature, you know, another way is, and feel as well, another way to check for doneness or an indicator of doneness. You know, I wouldn't use my visuals to figure out how done something is. I would use a combination of all these three things. But another indicator is visually how shrunken and how firm does it look. And you can clearly tell, like, it's still pink on the bottom side. You know what I mean? Like, if it's pink on the outside right now, how freaking pink is it gonna be on the inside, particular, you know, by the hip joint, by where the breast and the thigh meets, inside the bone? That looks terrible. That is literally one of the worst chickens I've ever seen in my career. Take like 3 shots.
Got a little bit of golden brown around it.
Golden brown? It has a golden brown spot the size of a quarter. Not even, that's like a dime.
Nice crisp exterior. It feels more.
Did he say, did he say crispy? Is he delusional?
Nice crisp exterior.
He said, he actually said it was crispy. He's touching it and he said it's crispy. This man is, YouTube recently changed their algorithm so you can't curse as much, but this guy is f***ing delusional.
It feels moist. Feels good.
It's definitely moist because it's still raw. It's still alive. I can already tell before he cuts into it.
We're gonna give this try in a minute. Let it cool. Let it rest. Remember to always let your meat rest.
Oh, now you want to go with the culinary terms.
This did a great job.
What? Dude. What? You did a good job. I shouldn't expect something, you know, expect much more from a guy who's making Aunt Myrna's, what was it, chicken, the cheese salad, and the McCormick bag chicken. Oh, God. Oh, maybe that's why he said it looked crispy. Goodness gracious.
You can see you got a little color going here. Oh. All across, you got kind of a little bit of a golden brown. Some of the buttermilk kind of burned around the perimeter.
Yeah, you
doesn't
think?
really matter.
You think?
It's all going to wash right off. But this chicken...
Wash? Don't tell me you're going to wash this chicken. If you wash this chicken...
So, this is a wet rub. Let me just cut off...
Oh, God, now he's calling it a wet rub. I know he meant to say wet brine, okay? But not even he has his... Please don't. Guys, take a shot, because please don't tell me you're gonna hack this chicken on the silpat. Please tell me you're going to remove the chicken from the expensive silicone silpat and then cut on the cutting board.
Give it a taste.
No. Oh my God.
There we go.
Oh, God. There's still 1:20 left of this video. I don't know if I can take it, guys. I know you guys, like, I disagree with you guys about putting a metal utensil onto a non-stick pan. However, it depends what kind of non-stick pan, especially these days. But I am firmly against putting a knife onto a silpat, onto a silicone mat. I think he's just being lazy. At the bare minimum, remove the... It'll look better. Your already terrible chicken will at least look a little better presentation-wise by removing it from that silpat coated in all that buttermilk and at least cut it on the cutting board.
We're going to try it out, see how the flavor is.
You can see how pink and red it is. from look at how far the camera is, and you can see how underdone it is. He really does have an iron stomach. My God.
Then we're gonna compare the flavor to the dry rub. And I'm using dry rub of the powdered buttermilk.
Now he's calling it dry rub rather than a brine.
Here we go.
Remember in the Aunt Myrna's cheese salad video when he took that one bite and I was just like, this guy's clearly full of shit. Listen, the seasonings he put in there, the buttermilk and all that stuff, it's going to be good flavor, okay? No doubt in my mind about that. His execution is awful, terrible, 0 out of 10. -10 out of 10. But oh my God, look at the bone that he's holding, the chicken leg bone. You can see how red it is. I mean, this guy's calling it crispy and browned, and just like, I would have respected him more if he made this video and was like, I can't put this out, which I've done before, okay? Where I filmed a whole video and I'm like, I can't put this out because I know I can do it better, and I learned too much on the spot. Right? That can work well in a video as well, but he's just delusional, man. He's not even smiling. He's just like, yeah, damn, this is kind of shit. But for this, I don't want to waste this footage or time.
It's interesting. There's kind of a creaminess to it.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain. Kind of a sweetness from the buttermilk that's inside the chicken.
I wouldn't really say sweetness from buttermilk particularly, but okay.
It almost tastes like a Thanksgiving turkey, even though it's a small little chicken, right? But it's got all those spices that it took in overnight and did a great job. Can't even talk. Let's try it again. Did a great job and is really good.
Holy crap. Oh my God. That was bad. Guys, this is just as bad as you had all described it in the other Cooking with Jack videos. Do you guys want to see me react to the second part of this, the dry brine part? Oh my God. This... Why'd you do this to me? All right. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I hated making it. Jack's videos are the only ones I have trouble saying my line of don't be afraid to fail because it can only make you stronger. Because clearly, he is an example of the opposite of that. He just seems to just keep getting worse. Jack, do you need some cooking lessons? I will give you some Zoom cooking lessons for free. I will somehow fit you into my already packed schedule to help correct some of these. I don't know. There may be too much to correct. Whatever. I can't go on. Video's over. I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef who's extremely disappointed, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you real soon. I can't even think. Bye.